recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour, or substance and behaviour. My addictive substance, alcohol, so alcoholic. Substances, yes. I never got any further really. Well, not in any sort of serious way, except maybe for asking for too much medicine from the doctor to try and solve the problem inside. And as far as behaviour went, workaholic, relationships, materialism, collecting, you name it, to fill the gap, whatever that gap was, that feeling of discontent and irritability, and not quite right with me or the world, and looking out to fix myself, not understanding that the very simple fact of being dependent on things outside me put me in a place where I was vulnerable to obsession and self-harm, which is what being an alcoholic is. It's self-harming to the point of living a life without any inner core, or almost like a zombie, walking dead. And we can function as distilleries, if you like, of alcohol, and distilleries of people, places and things, continually absorbing and using. And it's not a very satisfying place to be, because nothing will fix that emptiness inside if we don't know why we're here, or find something useful, or find love, and how to love, and be loved back. So what a journey of careering about, trying to find out who I was, always intellectually looking for the higher power of living, and being right with myself and the world. So much of the time putting on a brave face and thinking I was courageous, when in fact I was just braving it. A lot of fear inside me, and a lot of vulnerability. I'm not really realising that fear and vulnerability are quite good strengths if we know they're there, and there for a reason. And it's not to overcome them, it's to embrace them as much as any feeling to the good of life, so that we know how to deal with what we face in the moment of now. So life is quite complicated, I've found, and quite difficult in recovery, because it's not about striving to be anything, it's just being a person, just being in the moment of now. And for a long time I thought I needed to be a certain way. So in the journey of trying to fix my outlook, fix my position in the world, and thinking I should go for the next right thing, always meant striving for perfection. And these days perfection is not my goal. It's to live in the moment, make the right choices based on the information in front of me and how I feel about it, and keep sober. Sober is key. So in recovery for a little while, how did I get there? Well, a moment of clarity, or many moments of clarity, about understanding life is beyond any imaginative horror I could have ever envisioned. And it got worse and worse, and the clarity came. Family, community, professionals kept me alive long enough to have these moments of clarity. And it came down to one broad understanding of, I cannot do this on my own. And when I realised I cannot do it on my own, this thing of sobriety, I asked for help. And it came in the form of professional help to detox me, and then in the help on an ongoing basis of a fellowship. And that fellowship is AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. So my video is really about sharing experience, strength and hope of how fellowship helps me find myself, unique, authentic, not special and different, but we are in a unique, authentic place, all of us, on our journey of life. And we have different levels of understanding, wisdom, knowledge and experience, but we all live in this one moment, and we are all the same sized, living in the moment of now. So no ups and downs, no better outlook than mine, no worse outlook than mine. We just have outlooks on what is good for us, and with information from others in fellowship, I find that life is very fulfilling. So AA, what is it? I share here, mainly for anyone who can't get to a meeting or is just wanting some reassurance that they're on the right path. Yeah, right path, right time, right now. So what is AA? Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety, which is why I do these videos. So, sharing a message. And that came from this little card here, which is the AA preamble, and inside it, it has the 12 steps of AA on one side and the 12 traditions of AA on the other. So the 12 steps, action for an individual to change their attitude and behaviour in the moment of now, and live life to what is happening, the truth of now, rather than what I think it is or think it ought to be. And the 12 traditions of AA are about the fellowship, unity, service and recovery. So between the two, 12 steps for keeping myself sober and 12 traditions to be a part of and understand what it's like to be in fellowship, life works. So sobriety first, and then the rest of life can work. So inside and outside of fellowship, the principles of the program keep me on a fairly even keel until somebody treads on my toes, and then I have to be careful that I don't retaliate in a bad way. And February, in this book, The Daily Reflections, is all about step 2. So the Daily Reflections is the 12 steps, 12 months. So February step 2, all about being restored to sanity by higher power. And or it actually reads, came to believe that a higher power could restore us to sanity, or thereabouts. And, you know, sanity is a daily exercise. We can be driven insane by life, because life is like that. But the restoration of sanity simply means that we deal with the difficult parts of life as well as the good parts of life, without going off the rails. And for today, in the Daily Reflections, for February the 9th, it says here, getting the spiritual angle. And this is important to me, because I was always looking for it, not really realising it was right with me all the time. How often do we sit in meetings and hear the speaker declare, but I haven't yet got the spiritual angle. Prior to this statement, he has described a miracle of transformation which has occurred in him. Not only his release from alcohol, but a complete change in his whole attitude toward life and the living of it. It is apparent to nearly everyone else present that he has received a great gift, except that he doesn't seem to know it yet. We well know that this questioning individual will tell us 6 months or a year hence that he has found faith in God. And for me, God is truth, God is love, God works through people, and beyond that I cannot define God. So he goes on to say very briefly, a spiritual experience can be the realization that a life which once seemed empty and devoid of meaning is now joyous and full. In my life today, daily prayer and meditation, coupled with the living of the 12 steps, has brought about an inner peace and feeling of belonging which was missing when I was drinking. And it says now joyous and full, but it can be sad and full as well, as life experience affords. So I don't worry these days when life goes to the sad of life, or the sadness that is there, or angry, or the emotions that we have, because to embrace the emotions and understand them and why we have them and how they work in reality in the moment enables me to get balance in those emotions and spirituality, being here now. And when it's going a bit weird, or if it's just going well, that serenity prayer helps me immensely just make sense of what is now. So to God, good conscience, or your higher power, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference for me is just for today. Addiction substance was alcohol. Now in recovery, my behaviour, any old behaviour, trying to be perfect, and never so. So whether we're addicted to one thing or another, substance or behaviour, it can come out sideways. So as we deal with our primary addiction, we can find ourselves in other addictions as well. So my videos are all about recovery, just simply one day at a time. And I go to the fellowship of AA, that's Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't speak for them, I speak for myself. And at the beginning of every meeting I go to, we share a preamble which sort of gives me a chance to slow down into the moment of now, so I can try and get a message across about recovery. And the preamble goes like this. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution. Does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And I stuttered a bit there because I was thinking about something else which I heard last night. And I went to 2 meetings yesterday, one in the morning at 11 and one in the evening where I'm a regular with 7:30 for a bit of experience, strength and hope and how to keep in recovery. And at meetings we listen to somebody speak their truth and then we share our truth back, hopefully, experience, strength and hope. So yesterday was a difficult day, and coming out of a relationship and trying to find my bearings again is just where I'm at. So I have a big gap inside me which I need not fill with alcohol or other behaviours which might be addictive. So it's good to have a gap. It means I've got room for growth, room for change, and a change in my attitude and behaviour, and understanding it's okay to be me and okay to be single. And I get thought for the day messages on my email from, I've forgotten where they're from now, yeah, thoughtfortheday.org.uk, and it says here, thought for the day, it's got penguins on it for some reason. There you go, it says here, trust yourself. You must begin to trust yourself. If you do not, then you will be forever looking to others to prove your own merit to you, and you will never be satisfied. You will always be asking others what to do, and at the same time resenting those from whom you seek such aid. And that's the difficulty when we ask people for help and they tell us the truth. Maybe we knew it already, we can get resentful. Why are you telling us the truth? Well, you shouldn't be paying attention to that, you should be paying attention to this. And it's very easy to find ourselves in a downward spiral. So, why do I go to the fellowship of AA? Well, because it's got 12 steps of action which I can take. And in the Thought for the Day book, one of the daily reflections from the AA literature, this one, it covers one of the 12-step action steps each month in the readings, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But February is the second month, so it's the second step of the programme, and it reads like this: came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. So, coming to believe that a power greater than me, when I was quite omnipotent in my own life, and probably not that great in anybody else's, I thought I might be able to solve all my problems on my own, and often my problems were resolved with a drink or two, and then a bottle or two of alcohol, whatever came near to making me feel okay, to take the edge off and make life work. And what I found is, in recovery, all those years I was taking the edge off, I was also taking the edge off things I ought not do, or would be better off not doing at all, and getting on with my life and finding happiness. And absolutely there is no happiness to be found in following a career or two because people have asked you, and then you find that there is nothing satisfying about them at the end of it. So being good at things doesn't necessarily mean it's good to keep on doing them, and we are here to be happy, strive to be happy. We work hard at everything we do. So the gift is, the greater power than me has always been the wisdom, experience, strength and hope I can hear from other people, as a collective or individuals who have an understanding of life which I can listen to and share and learn how to develop my own. So we need not resent anybody when they tell us their experience, strength and hope. We need to listen carefully and see what we can see for ourselves. And if you don't like this, you can always switch off. That's the gift. Anyway, step 2, coming to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. What can we believe in? AA does not demand belief. 12 steps are only suggestions. Importance of an open mind, variety of ways to faith, and it is courage, faith and confidence to keep on going when things get miserable. And I'm going to experience that very shortly, because my medications are changing to do with my diabetes and depression. And it's just as life is. Flight of the disillusioned, I certainly was. Roadblocks of indifference and prejudice. I certainly had indifference and prejudice against myself, let alone anybody else. I resented my situation and didn't know how to get myself out of it. Lost faith in AA. I haven't lost my faith in AA. It still remains a power greater than me, because it helps me sort out my life. Problems of intellectuality and self-sufficiency. Yes, my dad, stand on your own 2 feet, put on a brave face. Utilise your ego. He didn't actually say it like this, but swallow down the fear and press it down and don't deal with it. And the best way to deal with it, fear that was in the old days, was to drink on it. And negative and positive thinking, self-righteousness. Yeah, I haven't got the capital or the best answer to anything. I only have an answer which seems to work for me on a daily basis, and I feel better for sharing it. Defiance is an outstanding characteristic of alcoholics. Definitely. And step 2 is a rallying point to sanity and right relationship with God or good conscience. So the step 2 is being restored to sanity, having had a spiritual awakening sometimes that in my case was simply this: I need not try and do it all on my own. Indeed, I couldn't do it on my own. And coming on to this book, Daily Reflection, it says, getting the spiritual angle. How often do we sit in AA meetings and hear the speaker declare, but I haven't yet got the spiritual angle? Prior to this statement, he had described a miracle of transformation which had occurred in him. Not only his release from alcohol, but a complete change in his whole attitude towards life and the living of it. It is apparent to nearly everyone else present that he has received a great gift, except that he doesn't seem to know it yet, and that was me too. I didn't even see my spiritual awakening. It was just happening around me, that I need not do it on my own. We well know that this questioning individual will tell us 6 months or a year hence that he's found faith in God. Well, my faith remains in truth. God is truth, God is love. God works through people, and when I can't understand it on my own, there's a bigger humanity out there with probably the answer that I'm looking for, and that is to be integrated and connected with society. So it goes on to say, a spiritual experience can be the realization that a life which was once empty and devoid of meaning is now joyous and full. In my life today, daily prayer and meditation, coupled with living the 12 steps, has brought about an inner peace and feeling of belonging which was missing when I was drinking. And that's absolutely true. I have got more peace. I understand where I am today. I've had the first sober adult relationship in my whole life without drinking, and what can I say? What a gift that was, and is, and has been. So it doesn't mean I'm going to give up on relationships. It means I absolutely realise that relationships are part of and integral to recovery. Going on to worship as all, as Bill sees it. We found that we indeed had been worshippers. What a state of mental gooseflesh that used to bring on. Had we not variously worshipped people, sentiment, things, money, and ourselves? And then, with a better motive, had we not worshipfully beheld the sunset, the sea, or a flower? Who of us has not loved something or somebody? Were not these the issue out of which our lives were constructed? Did not these feelings, after all, determine the course of our existence? It was impossible to say we had no capacity for faith or love or worship. In one form or another, we had been living by faith and little else. And that is so true. Faith, courage, confidence are integral to moving along and being open to what the world has to offer. And our brave face, our ego and fear can stop that happening, where we look inwards and hide and keep secrets. So the gift for me really is this, and it's in the Serenity Prayer, which is acceptance, and that was the big message last night as well. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Simply, just one day at a time.